Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another Kano Tryharding Modern. Today we'll be playing Jund instead of Tron, and this list actually 5-0'd today, which is a little bit amazing to me because it's playing Dark Confidant in a Blitz meta. But, I mean, we're running Fatal Pushes, which are a lot more resilient removal than Lightning Bolt is, and we do present a clock in addition to having a lot of removal and attrition options, which I feel like is something we can use to our advantage when playing against decks like Blitz. So, in this particular list, we've got Bone Crusher Giants, which I kind of like. Just being a removal spell and a relatively large body seems decent. We have Bloodbraid Elf, we have Liliana the Veil, the standard Tarmogoyf, Renin 6, Thoughtseize, Inquisition, Lightning Bolt, Fatal Push, one Singleton Terminate, and, like I said, two Confidants. I don't know too much to do a whole lot of deck tech other than Jund. If you don't know what Jund is, you either don't play Modern or you haven't played very long. But Jund is supposed to be the best mid-range deck. So just like all of the random Jund-colored synergies stuck into a deck. Yeah, out of the sideboard we have Fatal Push, Collective Brutality versus the more aggressive decks. Plague Engineer, which kills Lumimancer or at least prevents it from hitting the board. We have Kalitas as our life gain option. That also provides value if we kill our opponent's creatures. Pillage, Cleansing Wildfire, Ashiok, Ghost Quarter against Tron decks, mostly. And then Nile Spellbombs for Grave Hate. So without any further ado, I'll see you guys in round one. Alright, we are on the draw for round one. And we do have Renin 6 Fetch Land, 2 Thoughtseizes, and Removal Spell. So I think I'm going to keep... Unless my opponent starts with an incredibly aggressive start, we'll probably be fetching Overgrown Tomb into a Thoughtseize. We might start Blackcleave Cliffs into Thoughtseize. That might be more reasonable. We'll see what happens. Okay, Bloodstained Mire for the opponent. They fetch, they shock a Steam Vents, and they play a Soulscar Mage. Okay, so looking like Blitz. We draw a Thoughtseize. Might as well try to Lightning Bolt now. Pass the turn. Thoughtseize is not the card I want to have 3 of right now. But hopefully my opponent does not have a backup threat. Hopefully they were relying on that Soulscar Mage to do something. Okay, opponent plays Fiery Islet, Manamorphose. Ah, crap. It's a double blue, so here's Stormwing Entity. That's not good. Okay. Well, I would like to draw another Lightning Bolt. Thank you. Thank you, Jund gods. Much more merciful than Tron gods. Alright, put it as Soulscar Mage, 3 land. We just immediately bolt this. Pass the turn. That's pretty good. Its opponent draws Expressive Iteration. Let's see what they exile. That was a pretty good top deck. It was effectively a draw 2. They put Lava Dart into the exile zone, which means they probably drew another non-land card. They play Wooded Foothills, crack Wooded Foothills for a mountain, and Lava Dart us. We untap, draw Inquisition. Alright, hand check, Mutagenic Growth. I was right. Play Bloodstained Mire, fetch. We'll get a Stomping Ground, I think. Play Renin 6, pick up Bloodstained Mire, pass the turn. So opponent has a Lava Dart as their only currently castable card. I kind of start expecting them to cycle Fiery Islet. Yep. Okay, they sack a Fiery Islet, they play Fiery Islet, and they sack that one too. Okay, so we know they're holding a Steam Vents. We untap, we draw Bloodstained Mire, Thoughtseize, Bolt technically saved us 1 life. Play Bloodstained Mire, fetch with Bloodstained Mire. Let's get an Overgrown Tomb, tapped, pick up Bloodstained Mire, pass the turn. Opponent untaps, plays Spire Bluff Canal, and passes. We draw Dark Confidant. You know, we do really need to draw cards. Hopefully this forces my opponent to do something. I'm going to fetch my basic... No, I'm going to fetch Blood Crypt tapped and pick up the land. Our life total is getting pretty low, but I guess I could just downtick Renin 6 to kill Confidant if I had to. Opponent draws. It's an opt. I guess they could Lava Dart as well. They do have a lot of lands. So my opponent could like play Swift Spear, Lava Dart, or Confidant. They play a mountain. We untap. Okay. Confidant trigger. Gets us a Bone Crusher Giant. We get a Forgotten Cave. That's better. Cycle Forgotten Cave. Another Bone Crusher. Pick up Forgotten Cave. Play Bone Crusher Giant. Play Bloodstained Mire. Pass the turn. So, if my opponent does nothing, I will probably fetch a basic mountain, stomp my opponent's face, and then Alt Renin 6 and Lightning Bolt them to death. They bolt us. That's not good. Do they have a second bolt? Okay, we're gonna wait. They play Bloodstained Mire. I don't think they played this. Bolt. I think their last card in hand is a Steam Vents. So we're going for it. Fetch a mountain. Stomp my opponent. We untap. We draw Kolagon's Command. Alt Renin 6. Go to combat. Attack for 4. And then we'll bolt K command. So, retrace Lightning Bolt. Retrace Lightning Bolt. And target player discards a card, deal 2 damage to him. It was the Steam Vents, I was correct. Alright, well that worked out pretty well for us. So versus this opponent, definitely want Fatal Push, definitely want Collective Brutality, and definitely want Kalitas. I may want Nile Spellbombs. I think Confidant, while super good, is probably suicidal. Actually, Confidant's probably better than Thoughtseize. I think the card advantage provided by Confidant is going to be pretty important. Maybe I cut a land here? Could that possibly be correct? Is there anything else that I would want to cut? I guess I could play Ashiok against them, but I'm going to cut one Confidant. We'll just play one of them. It could matter. It also could kill us, so... Alright, we have a slow hand. I will keep this. We at least have a Forgotten Cave we can cycle immediately. Opponent plays a Steam Vents, untapped, into a Swift Spear, hits us for 1. We untap, draw Kolagon's Command, play Bloodstained Mire, fetch, get our Stomping Ground, cycle Forgotten Cave. We get Fatal Push, that's excellent. Pass the turn. Let's see what our opponent does. Hopefully there's no Stormwing entity. Hopefully, yeah, they just cast cantrips. Okay, they play a Fiery Islet. Go to combat. Hit us for 2. We go to 14. Untap. We draw a second Fatal Push. So, Verdant Catacombs. Fetch. Get a Swamp. Push. Pass the turn. Opponent untaps. And I think it's correct to push on our turn because of Light Up the Stage. Not 100% on that, though. I don't even know if they play that card still. So opponent starts Opt, plays Bloodstained Mire, and passes. We untap, draw Bolt, play Nurturing Peatland, red, green, play Renin 6, uptick. I'm going to pick up Bloodstained Mire, and we'll pass the turn and leave up Push, which I think hits all of their haste threats. They're going to bolt Renin 6 and not our face? That can't possibly be correct. Not when we're at 12 life with no way to gain life. Wow. Yeah, no, I don't think that was correct. I think my opponent should have just thrown everything they had at our face. Or even saved those to have a prowess threat and, like, try and get us, but... Okay, opponent cycles Fiery Islet. Tells me they're holding a land. They play a land. They play a Swift Spear. They go to combat. Attack us for 1. Push. Okay, we untap. We draw Kalitas. Well, play Bloodstained Mire. Fetch. Get a mountain. Play Kalitas, because he's got lifelink. Pass the turn. If they have Bolt, they can Bolt Lava Dart him, but then that's another 4 damage they're not doing to us. 2 red. Manamorphose into 2 red. Manamorphose into red-blue. They play Swift Spear. You know what? Sure. If you have Mutagenic Growth, I still think this is correct. Okay? So you can Mutagenic Growth and trade, but we gain 3 on this. And then we have Bolt plus Renin 6 downtick or Bolt plus Kolagon's Command to kill your threat. Nice. Time for Bloodbraid. Crack Verdant Catacombs. Get our Forest. I'm just getting these because I'm trying to mitigate the life loss from our mana here. Bloodbraid Elf wheels into Inquisition. So we get a nice little hand check to make sure there's no removal. It's 2 lands. Wow. I really thought we were going to have a bad matchup, and we just completely attritioned all of Blitz's threats, which is awesome. I think my opponent made some questionable decisions, but I'm also not a Blitz expert. I think I've played Blitz more than Jund, but Jund seems to make more sense to me. Opponent plays Bloodstained Mire. And is that a lightning bolt? It was a wild slash. Okay. We draw Lily. So play Lily. Play Renin 6. Pick up a land. We're just going to discard the land. Because we want to keep this Kolaghan's command. Because we can force them to discard on their draw step if they're hellbent. And then it has to be an instant. And if we get rid of a threat that way, we're just going to win. So opponent top decks a Spire Bluff Canal. We untap. We draw a Lightning Bolt. So cycle Nurturing Peatland. Get Fatal Push. Pick up Nurturing Peatland. I suppose I could be doing this with Forgotten Cave. I just really wanted to have Kolaghan's command plus Lightning Bolt this turn. I don't even know if I want to take up Lily. I don't think I'm going to. I think I want every card in my hand. So stop on their draw step. We'll damage them and force them to discard. Fatal Push kills all of their threats with the exception of Stormwing Entity, which if they drew, they would have had to discard there. Nice! That was excellent. That was exactly what we wanted to do. Alright, I'll see you guys in round 2. Alright, I would like to play first. I think versus an unknown opponent, this is just fine. I'll keep. I'm going to lead on... I'm actually going to play Blood Crypt untapped. This might make my opponent think I'm Shadow, which could cause them to play differently than just regular Jund. If they lead on a creature, I really want to kill it. Okay, so we're going to play a 0-1 Tarmogoyf, the legendary 0-1 Tarmogoyf versus Eldrazi Tron. Never mind, I lied. Play Mountain, play Confidant. I don't know how our matchup is versus Eldrazi Tron, but I guess we'll find out. If they do have the Thought-Knot Seer here, I was going to say Liliana the Veil would be what they take, but they play Mind Stone. We untap. Confidant finds us a Wooded Foothills. Nice. We draw Nurturing Peatland. We have, I think, 3 plays. I probably should have played Overgrown Tomb last turn, because then I could play Tarmogoyf and leave up Fatal Push off of Wooded Foothills. But I think with the line that I've made now, Lily is the card I want to play. Nah. I think it's still Tarmogoyf, actually. Liliana is better if my opponent plays a Reality Smasher after they play Reality Smasher. Because if they play Reality Smasher, they can just attack her and kill her. So we'll hit our opponent for 2. And the way that they're playing, I kind of suspect they have one. Otherwise, this is a very slow Thought-Knot Seer. And Thought-Knot Seer, we still have Fatal Push to kill. They play a Power Plant. Okay, it is a Thought-Knot Seer. So they can either take Fatal Push, or they can take Lily, or they can take Tarmogoyf. If they take Liliana, we'll push. If they take Tarmogoyf, we'll probably Liliana. Alright. They play Expedition Map, so they will have Tron next turn, although not full Tron. We untap. Bob finds us Liliana and Bone Crusher Giant. Well, the Giant is going to be more important, I think, for pressure. So I can play Wooded Foothills, fetch with Wooded Foothills. I can get a Forest... I can Fatal Push Thought-Knot to see what I draw. Which black mana do I use? I've dedicated to playing Bone Crusher or Tarmogoyf here. So I think I use the Blood Crypt. We draw Goyf. I'm gonna play Goyf. Bone Crusher, like, we can still cast as a removal spell. Or not a removal. Well, yeah, I can get rid of Matter Reshaper. Hit them for 5. They go to 13 and untap. Next turn, we can even play Lily and Tarmogoyf. We could discard Bone Crusher if we really needed to. Why would you tap the Power Plant when you have the Mind Stone? Why would... This gives you 6 mana instead of 7. I guess if they have Ugin, it doesn't matter. If they play Ugin, they're going to down tick on a Tarmogoyf, probably. Could be Walking Ballista. If it is, it's a very small Walking Ballista. Yeah. They're going to ping Confidant, so we lose our card draws. We untap. We draw a Swamp. So... play Lily. And I'm doing this because they will ping Lily to kill her, which will increase the size of our Tarmogoyfs. So make them sack. They'll ping down Lily, and then they'll ping us for 1. And the Goyfs get bigger. Okay, we go to 11. They have nothing to sack. Go to combat. Hit them for 10. And I think because the off chances they're going to have something like Ulamog, what I want to do here is play the Swamp and just leave up Bone Crusher Giant. Because if they have Ulamog, they have to hit both Tarmogoyfs. If we played a third Tarmogoyf, they could just block it when we attack. I would rather ping them. If they're cycling to draw, that's great for us. We're getting Thought-Knot Seared, so stomp them to 1. Man, just having more burn that can go to face feels pretty great. Plays Scavenger Grounds. Okay, they can shrink the Goyfs. That is less than ideal. But if we're attacking with 2, okay, play Peatland, go to combat. They have to have Scavenger Grounds plus Warping Whale, which is possible. Okay, they block 1. They activate the grounds. Okay, so sack Peatland and any damage spell wins the game. Actually, yeah, okay. They didn't have the Warping Whale. We got him exactly. So Stomp was very important there. Glad I played that way. Versus Eldrazi-tron, I think I still want the Cleansing Wildfire, Pillages, Ashioks, and a Ghost Quarter. What is less good against my opponent? This is kind of tough. So Ghost Quarter, I think, means I'm gonna cut... I think it's a Bloodstained Mire or a Verdant. I'm gonna cut a Verdant for a Ghost Quarter. The question is, what do I take out for these 5 cards? And this is where my lack of experience with Jund is gonna show. Kroxa seems important, but because they only have the Scavenger Grounds unless they have relics, I suppose. So maybe we take out Kroxa just because of the incidental Grave Hate. Kroxa's really good though. Somebody who's really good at Jund is gonna be like, you never cut Kroxa. Like, and I'm gonna have no choice but to be like, yeah, you're probably right. Because I don't know. I'm just like working off of what I think is gonna be best here. Kolaghan's Command's important because it can destroy artifacts. Terminate's important because it's like unconditional removal. Stomp and Bolt are important for reach. Inquisition is worse than Thoughtseize, so maybe we cut Inquisition. And I guess I could cut like... I could just cut a land entirely. The question is, what land would I cut? Maybe like a Blackcleave Cliffs? Okay. I think we've got it. Alright. This hand seems fine. I'll keep. Opponent leads on Wastes. That is important. That means if we Cleansing Wildfire them, there's only... The odds are they only have one Wastes left in the deck. That's also true if we Ghost Quarter them. Okay. This opponent probably is going to play a land and crack Map. We're going to fetch up Overgrown Tomb. They play Relic. While annoying, I don't think it's the end of the world. We don't care too much if they just make us exile this now. Okay. We still get Overgrown Tomb. Tapped. Untap. We draw Renin 6. Play Blackcleave Cliffs. Play Tarmogoyf. Pass the turn. Wow, opponent had to full price a Dismember to kill a Tarmogoyf that was a 0/1. But I guess they're trying to preserve their relic as long as possible. They will have Tron, unless we draw Ghost Quarter, Pillage, or Cleansing Wildfire. Untap. We get a Bloodstained Mire. So, play Bloodstained Mire. Play Renin 6. I'm not going to crack Bloodstained Mire. I'm just going to uptick Renin 6. We have enough lands in hand that it's not really card advantage at this point in time. They could cycle Relic in response. And more importantly, this does not let us leave up Fatal Push for a possible Thought-Knot Seer here. So opponent is going to go get Tron. Now, if they have something like Matter Reshaper plus Reality Smasher, that is going to be a bad time. If they have if they have Ugin of any kind, we're going to be in trouble. Thought-Knot Seer. Okay. Well, this is what we took this line for. So fetch with Bloodstained Mire. We're just going to get a basic Swamp here. Then we'll go ahead and Fatal Push. The only problem here is if we draw Land Hate, that's what they're going to take. Which I guess is not really a problem. They may take Liliana just because it represents the most value over time, which they did. Opponent cycles Relic and plays a Matter Reshaper. Okay, that's fine. We untap, draw Dark Confidant. So, play Verdant Catacombs. Fetch with Verdant Catacombs. Shock Stomping Ground. Play Confidant. Pick up Catacombs. Pass the turn. So, if my opponent attacks Renin 6 with Matter Reshaper, I'm probably going to let it just happen. We're going to save this Terminate for if they play another Thought-Knot, if they play a Reality Smasher. We can discard Blackcleave Cliffs in those instances. We want Confidant to stay alive, so we wouldn't be blocking. All is dust. Well, do we Terminate? No, because we can Kolaghan's Command to kill the Matter Reshaper. So we're just going to let this happen. It is unfortunate, because that's a lot of card advantage we just gave up. And that Relic seems pretty good. They hit us for 2, or 3. We go to 12. Untap. Draw an Overgrown Tomb. Play Verdant. So, we're going to make them discard, hit Matter Reshaper. Black, red, black. If they cycle Relic first, it means they're holding a really good spell. Not that we necessarily could do anything about it, but they discard Expedition Map. Matter Reshaper dies, hopefully not drawing them anything too good. Karn, Great Creator, is a big problem. Okay, opponent makes us exile a card with Relic. They untap. They play Karn. They're gonna Wish. They get Wormcoil Engine. They play Reality Smasher. Okay, so we are gonna fetch a basic Swamp. Terminate the Reality Smasher, discarding Blackcleave Cliffs. And really, we need to draw Cleansing Wildfire and then draw, like, Bolt off of Cleansing Wildfire. We draw Forgotten Cave. We will start by cycling Forgotten Cave. Pillage is not what I wanted, because I only have 2 red mana, because I've not been greedy enough with my mana. We'll play Overgrown Tomb. Tapped. Pass the turn. Yeah, so I was thinking with us having taken Kroxa out of the deck, I didn't need double red as much, which is why I was fetching more black mana. But obviously that bit me, because here my opponent's going to play Wormcoil, which is the hardest threat they have for us to answer. Mainly because they exile all his dust out of their own grave. They get Coding. So now it's a problem if they shut off red mana on our upkeep. Really, I need to draw Kolaghan's Command here? I only have 1 more to draw. They shut off Blackcleave Cliffs. We draw Bloodbraid Elf. Well, if we can Bloodbraid Elf into Kolaghan's Command, we might have a chance. Bone Crusher Giant. I can kill Karn this way. So we'll stomp Karn. Bloodbraid resolves. But I think we still need Kolaghan's Command to actually deal with Wormcoil. They have something else. They're going to cycle Relic. Okay, they cycle Relic. They untap. They play a Power Plant. They go to combat, attack us for 6. We take 6. We go to 5. We untap, draw Ghost Quarter. Well, we can Ghost Quarter the tower, and we could pillage to kill Wormcoil. It's unfortunate that we can't do it at instant speed. And us not having 3 red mana means we're not playing Bone Crusher. But this is still probably our best bet. So Ghost Quarter tower, because this greatly limits what they can cast. They are going to put a bunch of counters on Blast Zone, question mark. Okay, they change their mind. They don't put counters on Blast Zone. They just get a second wastes. Pillage Wormcoil. That's so bad. We answered 1/3 of a Wormcoil. The most important third, but only a third. I had to give up a whole card to do it. And I'm going to have to block. I mean, if my opponent had just ticked Blast Zone up to 4, they would kill us, but they untap. They play Eldrazi Temple. If they have Smasher, we're dead. They attack. Trade with the lifelink. Take 3 and go to 2. So they put Blast Zone on 3 to deal with Bone Crusher when we play it. So Bone Crusher isn't an out. We untap. We draw another Bloodbraid. Alright, green, black, black, red. Bloodbraid. Cascade. We hit Lightning Bolt, which we can use to kill the worm. Bloodbraid resolves. Go to combat. Hit them for 3. So we're dead to Walking Ballista. We're dead to Reality Smasher. We're probably dead to Karn Great Creator, wishing for Walking Ballista. Opponent plays a second Temple. We're dead to Ulamog, unless we top deck exactly Liliana. Okay. Opponent probably takes out a red mana. Yeah. If we top deck exactly Liliana, we survive this. Although not very well. We untap. I think I took a Liliana out, too. Draw Renin 6, and it's game 3. Does that change how we play? I did not take out a Liliana. I don't think it does. I think we just run it back. We will want to be on the play. I don't think we can keep this hand on the play. Not doing anything until turn 3. If they have a slow hand, this hand could be really good, but we have 5 lands. We really only need like 3. This hand is much better. Miles better, in fact. So we can Thoughtseize, play Confidant, hopefully hit a 3rd land and a fetch land for Renin 6. I will keep this. I think I put back Bone Crusher here. We'll play Blackcleave Cliffs first. Although if they have a Dismember and a reasonable hand around the Dismember, this Confidant won't do a whole lot. So they have Tronland, Tech Edge, Cavern, Blast Zone, Map.
Thought-Knot Seer Smasher. Do I take map or do I take Thought-Knot? I gotta take map. Hopefully that slows them down. Just playing a 4-drop on turn 4 may not be enough. If they draw just Tronland, or they draw Eldrazi Temple, we're going to be in trouble. They lead on tower, we untap, draw Verdant Catacombs, play Verdant Catacombs, fetch up Stomping Ground, untapped, play Confidant, pass the turn, opponent untaps. Wow. What are these top decks? That is enraging. We untap. We draw a Lightning Bolt. Play Renin 6. That was like the best 2 cards they could have gotten. I'm not even making that up. Play Verdant, pass the turn. They untap. Play Blast Zone. Okay. So on their end step, we fetch Blood Crypt. And we untap. Draw Blood Braid. Pick up Verdant. Play Verdant. Fetch up a Swamp. And I think we do go Blood Braid here. Just get as much pressure on board as we can. We hit Fatal Push, no targets. That's pretty bad. Go to combat, hit them for 3. They're going to play a Thought-Knot Seer. They're probably going to take Kolaghan's Command. Unless they draw Eldrazi Temple, then they can play Reality Smasher and kill Renin 6 if they want. They take up Blast Zone. That makes sense. They play Cavern. Okay, here comes the Thought-Knot. So they can take Bolt or they can take Command. I think they have to take Bolt because otherwise we can just Bolt Renin 6 down tick to draw. They take Command. We untap. Draw Raging Ravine. So Bolt, down tick. We draw Bone Crusher Giant. Play Raging Ravine. Play the Giant. Go to combat. Hit them for 3. Now they have to choose between Tech Edge and Smasher. They can Tech Edge to kill Raging Ravine, but if they do that, we just pick it back up with Renin 6. There's Tech Edge. So this is probably a Smasher. Thought-Knot Seer? That strikes me as questionable. They knew it was in our hand, too. They play Relic. We untap. We draw a Mountain. Animate Raging Ravine. Go to combat. Yeah, I think my opponent didn't pay attention to what cards we revealed. Attack them for 11. Okay, they block Blood Braid. Change their mind. Nope, they're going to block Blood Braid. Okay. They take 8. They go to 6. We go to second main. Ping Thought-Knot. We draw Lightning Bolt. Play a Mountain. Pass the turn. Opponent's going to make us exile a card, so we'll exile Thoughtseize. They untap. They might have to play Reality Smasher and do nothing. Because if they activate Tech Edge, they still need something to block. Okay, they Tech Edge us. If they have Eldrazi Temple, that would be the worst thing. They cycle Relic, exile the Graves, play a Wastes, and they're passing. We untap, draw Lily, go to combat, hit them for 4, Bolt. Yeah, I think the line they took was really questionable because they knew we had the Overgrown Tomb from having Thought-Knot at us before. They needed to play Smasher and interact with the board somehow, but I think my opponent misplayed there, which is why we ended up getting it. I think my opponent was I favored in that last game, but alright, I will see you all in round 3. Alright, we'll be on the play for game 3, and I don't think this hand is keepable, so we're going to mulligan. This hand is even less so we're going to mulligan. And I can work with this. We'll keep. The only problem is we gotta put back Renin 6 and a Forest. Because if I can put back a Forest and a Mountain, but then there's no guarantee I can play Renin 6. I can put back Forest and an Inquisition. Then I have less interaction on average. Gosh, this hand is not great. If this was a Blood Crypt, everything would be fine. But it is not. I'm going to put back Renin 6 because I think I need the hand hate to delay here. So, Swamp, Inquisition. Alright. So, take Stirrings. Pass the turn. This is Green Tron. We're not playing Assassin's Trophy, so we're slightly softer to this than we normally would be. I'm going to place Tower, place Star. We untap and draw Blood Braid. Thoughtseize them. They drew Power Plant, takes Scrying. Stomping Ground tapped. Pass the turn. This opponent cycles Star for green. See if we get hit with the Thoughtseize Curse. Okay.
They did not have a way to use that green mana, so kind of thankful. Play a mountain, play Confidant, pass the turn. We basically have to hope our opponent whiffs for a minute. They play another power plant. We untap. Bob finds us Raging Ravine and a Blackcleave Cliffs. Play Raging Ravine, go to combat. Attack for 2. I definitely think keeping double hand hate was what we needed to win. I don't know if it was the correct choice, like on average versus a blind opponent, but we definitely, I think, needed it to win. So opponent plays Karn, Great Creator. They're going to Wish. They get Coding. Okay. We untap. Bob finds us Thoughtseize and another Bob. Play Blackcleave Cliffs. Red, green, black, red. Bloodbraid Elf finds Renin 6. Play Renin 6. Play Bloodbraid. Go to combat. Kill Karn. Hit our opponent for 2. Uptick. Pass the turn. Opponent untaps. Ancient Stirrings. Okay, this could be a problem. If they hit mine, they're going to play Karn Liberated and Liquid Metal Coating. Nurturing Peatland. Okay. They play Star. They cycle the Star for green. So if they have mine, they don't have 7 mana for Karn Liberated. Second tower. They play Coding. We untap. Dark Confidant. Finds us a Verdant Catacombs and a Tarmogoyf. Lead on Thoughtseize. Karn, and Ugin. I think we can handle a Karn at this stage of the game, but we definitely can't handle Ugin. So now the question is, do we animate Raging Ravine to try and do as much damage as possible, or do we play Goyf? I think we animate Raging Ravine because that's 9 damage this turn. We can even ping and make it 10. That way if they play Karn, down tick on Raging Ravine, we can attack for 6 and ping them to kill them. And I think that maths. So fetch with Verdant, get an Overgrown Tomb, go to combat, hit them for 8, take them to 7, ping them to 6, pass the turn. They play Nurturing Peatland, which means no Tron this turn. They cycle Nurturing Peatland, and we got there. We had some pretty good top decks. The good news is this gets a lot easier for us in Game 2 with the addition of Cleansing Wildfire, Ghost Quarter, and Ashiok Dream Render. I think we cut the hard removal, so like Terminate, pushes are out. I'm going to cut a Verdant. Cutting a Fetch seems iffy. I don't know if that's correct. And I'm going to cut a Bone Crusher Giant. I don't know if that's correct either. So any Jund experts want to weigh in the comments below, I'm open to it. All right, this seems like a good hand versus Tron. We should have plenty of disruption. We have some extra card draw off Confidant, which we can play on turn 2 if they have a relatively empty hand, or if they mulligan real low. They mulligan to 6. Opponent going to lead on mine into map. We untap. We draw Pillage. So Verdant Catacombs. Fetch with Verdant Catacombs. We are going to get Blood Crypt. Untapped. And I am going to Inquisition before I Thoughtseize. They have Spatial Contortion, Chromatic Star, and nothing else. They just went for the high roll. Take Star. Pass the turn. We untap. We draw Kolaghan's Command. Play a Swamp. Play Bob. Pass the turn. If they draw a non-Tron land and just cast Contortion to kill Bob, they're going to lose. Okay. They didn't draw land. We got him. We were definitely going to win that with a Ghost Quarter, an Ashiok, and a Thoughtseize. So, opponent kept a very risky hand. Like, if you're keeping a one-lander with map and a star against a deck that loads up on hand hate, I think that's incorrect, and I feel uniquely qualified as a person that plays Tron as much as I do to criticize that keep. I think you should go to 5. Because the odds are you can have, like, Tron lands, Nurturing Peatland, and get to where you need to go. I think that keep was questionable. All right, well, I'll see you guys in round 4. All right, we'll be on the draw for round 4, and this seems like a pretty decent opener. The only thing I have to criticize about this hand is we don't have a fetch land to start feeding Goyf, but I think it's fine. All right, I'm going to keep this hand. It seems good versus a lot of decks. Our opponent is mulligan to 5, which in a resource trading matchup means we're probably set. All right, Tron again. All right, well, we draw Lily. I'm going to lead on Blood Crypt tapped. Pass the turn. So this depends on how much of Tron they have and if they've got a good threat follow-up or not. They've got Tron. Okay. We untap. We draw Renin 6. So play Stomping Ground. Play Tarmogoyf. Pass the turn. Well, if we lose this, we'll be on the play with Tron Hate, which will help a lot. Opponent has Karn, so they can Wish with Karn, and then get Liquimetal Coating. Or they could get Ensnaring Bridge, but we can attack past a bridge right now. They get Ballista. So they can play Ballista on 1. They play Relic. Interesting. They just cycle Relic immediately? That can't be right. I wouldn't think, anyway. We draw Bloodbraid. So I can't play Lily to get a card in the grave. I can't play Bob and push him. I can Bone Crusher Giant to shoot Karn to 1, and then leave up push for Walking Ballista. I think that's my best bet. It's not great. Alright. Pass the turn. They untap. They can animate Chromatic Star if they want. They're going to cycle Star for green. Ancient Stirrings. This is making the Tarmogoyf bigger. They get another tower. That's scary. This means Ballista on 4? Or 5? Ugin. I don't actually think I can beat an Ugin. Yep. Okay. I think versus any other deck, that hand would have been great. So, Cleansing Wildfire, Ashiok, Ashiok. Ghost Quarter will go down. Terminate the pushes. Maybe like a Blackcleave Cliffs. And I'll say 1 Croxa. Try like this. Being on the play should help a lot. If we can just go Thoughtseize, Cleansing Wildfire, Ashiok, we'll probably be in a good spot. I would like to play first. This is not a bad hand. It's just not particularly good versus Tron. I'm gonna mulligan. Okay, I like this better. It's not hyper fantastic, but I do like it better. I'm going to put back Bloodbraid Elf. We are going to start Fetch Overgrown Tomb, Thoughtseize, in case my opponent keeps a hand with only map. So start Wooded Foothills, Fetch Overgrown Tomb, Thoughtseize. They have Power Plant, Tower, Sphere, and Scrying. Take Scrying from them. Opponent untaps, they'll probably start Power Plant, Sphere. Wow, I'm good. We untap, we draw. Lightning Bolt. Play Forgotten Cave, pass the turn. Opponent untaps. And they'll lead on Cycling Sphere for green. Then they'll probably play a tower, and whether or not they get Ancient Stirrings, or... Oh, they're gonna not cycle it. I see. Okay, play Bloodstain Mire. And I'm gonna play Croxa. I'm gonna try and tax their hand as much as I can. Even if they do assemble Tron next turn, they discard the Forest, interesting. Even if they do assemble Tron next turn, and they play Karn Liberated, taking out our Overgrown Tomb, as bad as that is, I could still bolt the Karn. Dang. Here comes Karn. So we want to draw an untapped land. They're gonna... Okay, they're gonna exile a card from our hand. They didn't go for taxing the mana. That means we have to get rid of Bolt? Dang. Okay. So then we need to fetch Blood Crypt tapped. Them some good top decks. We untap. Draw Bloodstain Mire. Play Bloodstain Mire. I'm going to make them discard and destroy this sphere. If they uptick, they can kill Lily, and then they'll be able to restart the game with a Liliana. But this might be our only hope. Maybe it was better to play Lily and either force them to downtick or uptick on themselves. Okay, they play Sphere. They cycle it for green. They play Sphere. They cycle it for green. They play a Power Plant. They have Great Creator, which means they can wish for Relic, and we can't get Croxa anymore, which was like our one way out of this. Maybe. Okay, they get Coding. They play Coding. They exile our Overgrown Tomb, and that's going to be the game, I think. Yep. Dang. Get Overgrown Tomb. Because, like, even if I get Croxa now, it doesn't matter. If I had 4 mana, maybe Bloodbraid would have been an out. That's way too slow. Maybe I needed a mulligan to Tron hate, but I think my opponent got really lucky in their top decks. Yeah, okay. I'm gonna go ahead and concede. I can't stop them from blowing up 2 lands a turn, so that is very unfortunate, but that's not an unwinnable matchup. It's slightly variance dependent, I think. But alright, I'll see you guys in round 5. Alright, we are on the draw for round 5. This seems like a pretty good hand. Opponent is a Luris deck of some kind. So if they're Blitz or Burn, we'll see how this goes. It looks like they're probably Shadow, though. We draw Thoughtseize. So fetch with Verdant Catacombs, we'll go get Blood Crypt and Inquisition our opponent. If they Stubborn Denial, they're 4-color Shadow. They are Mill. So the question is, do we take their interaction, do we take their Mill spell, or do we take their Visions of Beyond? And I think we take their interaction. So take Drown in the lock from them, pass the turn. Opponent fetches up Watery Grave tapped. They untap. They play a Snow-Covered Island. Glimpse the Unthinkable. Well, we should be able to play a very big Tarmogoyf now. Shock Overgrown Tomb. Play Goyf. Pass the turn. We're going to work our way up to playing Kroxa, hopefully. Opponent plays Polluted Delta. Passes. We untap. Draw Terminate. Go to combat. They have Drown in the lock. Okay. It's pretty bad. So pass to our second main. Play Forgotten Cave. They have Visions of Beyond, Polluted Delta, 1 unknown in hand. So I guess I could have played... Well, no. I wanted to make sure that I had red mana. I guess I still had a Stomping Ground. I could have fetched. Okay, I'm going to Thoughtseize. There is a chance they have Archive Trap. And if they do, I want to Thoughtseize it. Visions of Beyond. Okay. So they have Polluted Delta, Field of Ruin. Anything they play, they top decked. So let's hope we can get Kroxa down next turn. I get this criticism all the time when I play Mill, that I should never fetch to thin because I'm a deck that plays... I'm a deck that plays Hedron Crab. I guess I don't know that they're playing Hedron Crab, but... Okay, we'll play Kroxa. Exile a bunch of cards we know we're not going to pick up out of the grave. Force our opponent to discard. Opponent discards Polluted Delta and takes 3. Pass the turn. Opponent untaps. They scoop. They can't beat a Kroxa. Okay. So versus Mill, I guess I bring in Collective Brutality. What's bad versus Mill? Do I need Grave Hate? I don't know if I need Grave Hate. I'm going to drop Terminate and maybe a Renin 6. Just to bring in 2 Collective Brutality. Plague Engineer doesn't do anything. Kalitas is not super useful. Fatal Push kills crabs. Maybe I need the 4th Fatal Push. I don't know what that's better than, though, and Collective Brutality mostly does the same job. We'll try like this. We'll be on the draw. Okay. I mean, I've seen worse hands. I don't have black mana I can get without fetching. They kept 7, so they probably have Archive Trap. Let's hope we don't get absolutely annihilated by it. Okay, opponent leads on Obero into Crab, which must die. We draw Blackleaf Cliffs. Perfect. Bolt the Crab. Pass the turn. Opponent untaps. Plays Polluted Delta. That does mean no second Crab, at least. They crack Polluted Delta. Get a Watery Grave untapped. Mesmeric Orb. Glimpse. Okay. We untap. Draw Lily. So... Bloodstained Mire. Fetch. Stomping Ground. Play Kroxa. They do have Archive Trap. They milled a lot of good stuff. They discard Mesmeric Orb. They have 2 cards left in hand. Okay, I'm really hoping we can play Lily. They Visions of Beyond to draw 3 cards, which is pretty good. I've heard Ancestral Recall is a good card. They play Field. Soul Guide Lantern, so they can just exile our whole grave, and there's nothing we can do about it. They start with Kroxa. Okay. They're going to surgically extract Tarmogoyf, which doesn't matter because we're not holding one. Alright, we untap. Draw Thoughtseize. Fetch with Verdant. Get a Swamp. Play Lily. I think it's more important to get Lily down. Oh my god, they had another one?
We have 11 cards left in our deck. It's going to be a little bit tough to find a way to win, I think. Discard Verdant Catacombs, even though I think I needed that to actually try and cast Kroxa next turn if my opponent somehow messed up. Do I even have any threats left in the deck? Yeah, I hope I do. All of our Bone Crushers are in the grave. All of our Blood Braids are in the grave. All of our Kroxas are gone. So we'll get our last basic. I swear if they top decked Archive Trap, they get a Swamp. We untap. Okay, they played a land. Some kind of threat, please. That is not what I asked for. Play Blackleaf Cliffs. Uptick. We'll discard Thoughtseize. Pass the turn. I want to see if they'll crack Soul Guide Lantern early. They do not. I think they're still debating about whether or not they can crack it for card draw or for exiling our grave. Okay. Well, they didn't exile our grave with it. Doesn't really matter what we exile. We don't have Goyfs anymore. Play Kroxa. Okay, top of the deck is fine. Play a Forest. Actually, turn off auto yields. Dang it, I meant to tick up Lily to 6. That's actually a problem. Okay, we untap. Draw Kroxa. Uptick Lily. Discard Kroxa. Now we replay Kroxa again. Haha, gotcha! You thought I was going to have to replay it. But opponent still refuses to crack this Soul Guide Lantern for some reason. I take 3. Pass the turn. I sack Soul Guide Lantern to draw. Untap. I draw again. They play another Soul Guide Lantern. Exile something. I mean, we're dead to Glimpse the Unthinkable, Maddening Cacophony, Mind Funeral. It was a lot. So I would not be surprised if we still lose. Okay, they cycle Soul Guide Lantern, draw. They play Prismatic Vista, and they pass. We untap, get a Renin 6. So we play Renin 6, pick up Raging. First, let's Inquisition. It's a land. Play Renin 6, pick up Raging Ravine. Play Raging Ravine. Force... Is it better to force our opponent to sack half their lands? Or is it better to just get rid of the land in hand and do 3 extra damage? Let me think about this. If I give up on Liliana, I can keep Fatal Push, which protects me from a crab. Only sort of. If I downtick Lily, that stops them from top decking the 3rd or 4th Archive Trap, but that's it. I think we uptick. I think the damage is more important than the Fatal Push or the land. Go to combat. Hit them for 6. They just have to have 1 dead draw. And if it's Archive Trap, I'll feel silly, but this way, even if they top deck a Drown in the lock and can kill Kroxa, we can animate Raging Ravine, then downtick Renin 6 to kill them. Actually, okay, no, they can't put Lurrus into their hand. They play Ruin Crab, and they can mill us for 3. No, they can mill us for 6, because they can replay Obero. But we'll have 1 card left in our deck. Getting that land out of their hand was so important. Wow. That mattered a lot. Not for the reasons I thought it did, but it mattered a lot. I'm glad I took that line. So, alright, let's open up some treasure chest. I feel like it's been too long. Let's see what we get here. Treasure chest number 1. 85 play points. Dang. And a wild call. Treasure chest number 2. 10 play points and an Obosh, the Prey Piercer. Not worth anything. Treasure chest number 3. 45 play points and a Forced Fruition. Treasure chest number 4. 10 play points and a Godless Shrine. Godless Shrine. That, I think, is worth a ticket, maybe? Let's see, which one is this one? Guild Pact. A ticket. Nice. And treasure chest number 5. A Kaldheim Booster Pack. 5 play points. And a Kitsune Mystic. You know what? Let's open up our Kaldheim pack. We get a Hengegate Pathway. And a foil Morite of the Frost. The bot doesn't want to respond to me anymore. Alright, but we got cards. That's cool. Alright, let's talk about the deck list here briefly, as I am not a Jund expert. However, the Hengegate Pathway was worth 2 tickets. Nice. The only match we lost was Tron, and that was a completely winnable match. We just didn't draw any of our hate. Our opponent top-decked really well, which Tron is built to do, so I'm not really upset about losing that. Sad we didn't trophy, but, you know, you can't trophy every time.
I was really, really surprised by how well we matched up against Blitz. I don't know if that's because my Blitz opponent made weird decisions, if they kept bad hands, or if they just top decked like all lands, and then we just like the first game we took all of their resources and just answered every threat, and then like we still had stuff left over. And then through some like clever use of discard mechanics, got rid of everything they had before they could play it. So I don't know how often you're going to have games like that against Blitz with Jund, but it felt good. I think it was on the high side of variance for us. I don't think this deck is that good versus Blitz. I think it's okay. Especially with like the collective brutalities out of the side and whatnot. I think this has a decent matchup. But I don't think the matchup is as good as it showed in our round one. Other than that, Jund's Jund. It's a great deck. And it still feels powerful. I was worried because there's a lot of unfair and control decks at the top of the metagame right now, because like Esper Control is like the 4th or 5th most played deck according to Goldfish, which I think is kind of interesting, but I like playing Jund. I used to not, but I do. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this content. If you did, please leave a like, drop a comment, subscribe to the channel if you're so inclined. And remember, you can follow me on Twitch. Same username over there as you find me on here. I stream Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Mountain Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, though the last few have been earlier than that. And consider joining our Discord. Links in the description down below if you want to hang out with the rest of us from Twitch chat and brew some decks with us. And in general, just have a good time. Other than that, I want you to know that you're all wonderful human beings, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye! Hey, just wanted to give a shout out to my patrons for the month of May. If you want to support my channel directly and have your name show up in this list, there's a link to my Patreon in the description down below. Thank you all.